So, you find yourself in the exciting position of having been invited to participate in a Dungeons & Dragons or TTRPG one-shot as a player, but don't quite know where to begin. Well, thankfully this video is here to help. Hello everyone, Ben here, and welcome back to yet another video. Today we're going to be breaking down my personal process of how to plan and prepare for involvement in a TTRPG one-shot. Now, first things first, what exactly is a one-shot, and what makes it different to a campaign or mini-campaign? Well, the most blaring difference is that a one-shot is designed to be played through and finished within one single session, as opposed to a campaign or mini-campaign, which can take weeks, months, or even years to get through. Now, these one-shot sessions can vary in length, but they're most likely to take anywhere from between roughly 4 to 8 hours, telling an entire story from beginning to the end, all in the space of one session. Because of this time factor, planning for a one-shot is different to planning for a long-haul game, and that's just what we're here to talk about. So enough of my babbling and on with the video. The very first and most important thing that you should do when planning for a one-shot is to talk to the DM, discuss their setting and where exactly your character fits in with the story. It's also a good idea to discuss with the DM which game system you're actually going to be playing. There's no point in turning up with a really awesome Call of Cthulhu investigator, only to find out that you're going to be delving into dungeons in Pathfinder 2e or Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Now, once that's cleared up and out of the way, and you know which game system you're going to be running, you can then discuss with your DM some of the more intricate things that they may have included or excluded from their world. Some DMs will have a limited pool of species, classes, and subclasses available for their one-shot setting. So it's always worth taking the time to talk to them about this to establish what is and isn't available before you get your heart set on something that you're just not going to be able to play. Another point to be aware of when you're creating your character is to establish what they're actually doing there and why they've decided to be part of this quest or this story. Are they simply there for a payout? Do they owe a key NPC a favour of some kind? Or is there some deeper connection and involvement at play? In a one-shot, it's pivotal that your character wants to be part of the group and wants to participate in whatever it is that's going on. With such a time-limited type of game, the last thing the DM or the players want is a character that doesn't mesh with the group and doesn't really want to be involved at all. This type of character can greatly slow things down and lead to unnecessary inter-party conflict, which can, in turn, make for a more boring, frustrating game for everybody involved. At the end of the day, a one-shot is there as a story to be told, and has been designed as such. You should go into a one-shot with a more linear mentality than you would expect jumping into a campaign or mini-campaign, and embrace the material that has been provided. If your character is completely against raiding the goblin camp, why are you even there? Who sent them? And why has this party not already ousted them from the group? Of course, if you really want to, you can go down this path. However, just be prepared for your time in the game to be relatively short-lived and for an underwhelming experience. While the game is still very much yours to manipulate and participate in as a player, a one-shot will feel more railroady by nature, and it's best to expect that when you sign up. Now, for the sake of helping you immerse yourself into the DM's story, chances are that they will have provided you a brief blurb or backstory of the setting, a little bit of a plot hook as such that will really rope you in and get you stuck into the game. For example, here's a description from a recent one-shot that I personally ran, just to help get my players a little bit more involved and integrated in the story. Yingen is an illustrious trade town, its primary feature being the floating market through which goods of all varieties can be found. The vessels are continuously switching and swapping around their moorings, meaning that the goods on offer are very rarely the same. This incredible level of variety attracts patrons from far and wide, many on the lookout for rare and exotic items floating through on their way to the bigger cities. This makes Yingen a haven for both merchants and those with less than noble intent. However, Yingen is in trouble, and the once noble river has all but dried up, vanishing practically overnight. A call to aid has been requested, and the Adventurers Guild has sent you and your party to get to the bottom of this quandary. Your task? Find out what's going on and put a fix in place before this iconic landmark becomes nothing more than a ghost town. Hooks like this give the players a chance to learn a little bit more about the setting and just what's expected from their characters. It is information like this that the characters would likely have themselves upon signing up to such a quest, and will help set the player expectation for the game to come. For example, from the information provided from the plot hook, you can tell that the game is likely to involve elements of investigation, with the potential need for some subtlety and subterfuge. So it may be wise to bring a character that can get involved with this kind of activity. Now, one-shots do vary quite drastically. Some one-shots may be more weighted towards combat, whereas others may be incredibly roleplay heavy. So assess the information at hand and bring a character that is going to be fun in the given setting. Now, this brings me on to the next point. It's key that you make an effort to try and learn your character's abilities, spells, and features prior to game day. Now, oftentimes you'll be jumping into a one-shot with a completely new character, a species that you've never played as before, a class that you've never previously delved into, or even a subclass that you've just thought is really cool and well worth giving a go. One-shots provide the ideal opportunity to try out that crazy multi-class you've been looking into. And in my personal opinion, that's exactly what they're there for. And this is your chance to give it a good go. But as with anything new, it does take time to learn. And with such an array of different class features, abilities, and spells, it's well worth getting acquainted with them before game day starts. This will help keep the momentum running during the session and will also allow you to feel more integrated with your own character. Nothing breaks you out of immersion quite like having to read through your character sheet for 5 minutes every time combat comes around. By no means should you be expected to memorize every little tiny droplet of information on that character sheet. However, being aware of what's on there does go a long way to help the flow of the session. And it also shows the DM that you have put in some effort, boosting your own personal experience in the process. Character sheets can be very daunting at first, and there's a lot of information on there. It's essential that newer players be given a little bit more leniency where this is concerned, and if you are a newer player yourself, don't be afraid to ask for help. Players and the DM are more than likely going to be completely up for helping you out. Everybody started somewhere once, and all we can do is help you learn. And last but not least for this quick tips video, make sure to provide the DM with any information that they have specifically asked you for prior to game day. This can involve things like making sure your character sheets are printed and ready if you're participating in a physical game, providing a VTT token for the virtual tabletop if you're playing online, and making sure your character is registered to the correct groups in Roll20, D&D Beyond, and that you're in the right chat for things like Discord. Getting yourself set up with these things prior to game day will give both you and the DM the chance to troubleshoot if anything is going wrong, and will allow you time to fix them without having any time effect on the day of the game itself. With a one-shot being very time is of the essence by nature, the last thing that you want is to have your time wasted by being ill-prepared with the little things. Now, of course, this does apply to both physical and digital sessions, although if you are playing digital sessions, it can take a little bit more time, so get started on it a little bit earlier. Also, as a slight note, once you've done all of this once, it becomes much easier, as you'll have a much better grasp on what it is that you need to do and what to expect in the future. For those of you who are first timers, you can create tokens on things like Token Stamp 2 or Hero Forge, both of which provide the means to create awesome VTT ready tokens, which will really help to bring your characters to life on the tabletop. Links to both of these can be found down in the description. So, as a quick recap, you can best prepare for diving into a one-shot with the tips as follows. Number 1. Talk to your DM. Discuss the setting, theme, and why your character is involved in the quest at hand. Number 2. Invest some time into learning your character's abilities, spells, and features prior to game day. And number 3. Join any required VTT or chat channels and prepare and provide any material that your DM asks for before the game begins. Preferably before game day. If you follow those 3 guidelines, you'll be well on your way to jumping into one-shots with speed and grace. And sure, this is not an exhaustive list by any means, but it's a good start. And following these tips will show your DM and other players at the table that you are willing to do what must be done. Anyway, I really hope that this video has helped you out, and if it has, be sure to let me know in the comments below, and please consider dropping a like on the video and subscribing to the channel. I'll be posting up more videos like this one very soon, and I'm also currently working on a new creature feature, so stay tuned for that. While you wait, perhaps you'd like to learn more about the enigmatic Yggdrasti, or maybe you're a DM who'd like to discuss alternative ways to run TTRPG combat.